Hey, good morning. Welcome to your morning devotion. Look out the window. Wow, another gray cloud day. We are being blessed this week with gray cloud sunrises where we cannot see the sun. So I hope you're enjoying that this week. But let's get into something a little bit more enjoyable. Let's get into the word. Mark chapter 10. We're going to go to verse 17. And this is the story of the rich young ruler. Today we're talking about, are you listening to the teacher? But more so, actually, are you teachable? Are you teachable? So, Mark chapter 10, verse 17, here we go. It says, as he was going out on the road, this is talking about Jesus. As Jesus was going out on the road, someone came running and they knelt before him and they asked him, they said to Jesus, "Good teacher, what should I do that I could inherit eternal life?" And so Jesus makes a reply. He says, "Why do you call me good? No one is good but one, and that is God." Now you know the commandments. Do not commit adultery, do not murder, do not steal, don't bear false witnesses, don't defraud people, honor your father and your mother, right? You know all these, right? And this person who has called Jesus the teacher, his teacher, he says again with the verbiage, with the language. He answered him and said to him, "Teacher, all these things I have kept from my youth." He's again calling him his life's instructor. "Teacher, all these things I've kept from my youth." And Jesus looked at him, loved him, and he said to him, "One thing you lack. You just got to do one thing. Go your way, sell whatever you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Come, take up your cross and follow me." But this person was sad. He was sad at this word, and he went away very sorrowful because he had a lot of possessions. And what's interesting to me and what struck a note with me here reading this is this individual repeatedly calls Jesus teacher. Good teacher, right? He makes that introduction back up in verse 17. Good teacher. And then he follows it up in verse 20. Teacher again. So he continually calls him instructor, but yet does not listen to the instructor's instruction. So we may claim that God is our teacher. We may reference and honor him. He is our teacher, right? We listen to his word, we read his word, and so we are getting instruction from him. But do you have a teachable spirit in that whenever you hear instruction that you are, maybe it hurts you a little bit to hear it, or maybe you don't want to do it? Do you still listen to the teacher? Are you teachable in that moment? Or do you walk away and say, "Oh man, that's too bad that he told me to do that"? Quick little story time, and then we'll wrap things up. I remember in high school, I had a certain teacher that was not my favorite instructor. And their lectures would bore me quite the amount, to the point where I would almost doze off on my desk. And I wasn't a bad student. I wanted to pay attention, but the lesson was just so boring. It was hard to stay awake for. And not only that, but whenever he would grade papers or, grade our assignments or midterms and exams and all that kind of stuff, he was a really hard teacher. He was a really hard instructor. I did not enjoy this individual's instruction when I was in high school at all. It was honestly really annoying. And even though it was a science class, during exams and during assignment submissions, he would grade us as if it was an English class as well. So if you made any spelling errors, you got docked marks, let alone the scientific errors that you could have made within your paper. You also got docked marks for that. So you get docked marks pretty quickly. It was hard to earn a good grade in this teacher's class. And so for that reason, for the multiplicity of reasons as stated above, because he made me fall asleep in the class, even though I did want to pay attention, I did want to learn, I didn't want to get bad grades. So the lectures were boring, and he had a very rigorous high standard. He had a very high standard. and it was difficult to meet. So combining all those factors, he wasn't my favorite individual at the time. Fast forward a couple of years, and I am in university taking again a science course. And I go into the course, and I'm kind of nervous because I remember this teacher's course in grade 11 and grade 12, and I remember I did not exactly excel in this course, and so it made me nervous. So I walk into class in university to this science course, and the rubric is laid out, and the course semester is laid out, and as weeks go by, it's like, man, this course is easy. This course is everything I already did in high school. I've already done all this. I've already learned all this. And I realized in that moment, hey, that teacher in high school, it was hard. It was hard work then, and I didn't understand it, and I didn't get good grades in that science course. But you know what? He really did his work when it came to preparing me for my future. So how does that relate to our lesson today? Well, do you have a teachable spirit when the teacher is giving you instruction that you don't necessarily agree with, or maybe you don't appreciate? See, whenever I was in high school, I didn't appreciate the difficulty of that science teacher's instruction. I didn't appreciate it. I felt it was a little too high. I knew it wasn't high school level. I knew he was, setting us up at a college, university level. And so at that time, I didn't appreciate that because I wanted the stepping stone of, doing the high school step before the university step, not university to university. So in that high school moment, I didn't appreciate it. And so I had two choices. One, I could, work my best to try and get through it and try and succeed and try and listen to this instruction and trying to live up what was a high standard. Or I could have said, I'm not doing this out the door. I'll find some other course to do. And so whenever you're going through instruction and you are given instruction that you are not enthused about, or perhaps maybe even disagree with, or are not ready to take those steps yet, work towards it. Do it. Have a teachable spirit, because this high standard, this high level of instruction is meant to prepare you for your future, and you will be thankful for it later on. When God asks you to give up certain things in your life, when God prompts you to do certain things in your life that, maybe you don't exactly want to do quite yet, or maybe you find are very challenging to you, or maybe you feel like you don't have the resources to do or the knowledge to do it. Work at it. It may be a high standard to live up to. Being a Christian, living according to God's desires is a high calling. It's a high calling. It's a high standard. But in living up to and in working through and in having a teachable spirit and in following God and having a teachable spirit, God is preparing you for your future. And your future is going to be easier whenever you listen to the instructions. So the takeaway today is have a teachable spirit. You may not always understand the instruction. You may not always want to follow the instruction. But if you have a teachable spirit and you get through that season, you are going to thank the teacher. You're going to thank the high teacher, the holy teacher, for what he has done in your life and what he has brought you through and how he prepared you for what he is going to bring you into. So there you have it. Have a teachable spirit. Enjoy the sun today. Take care. God bless.